how you kind of got on this road. How did you get on the bandwagon of starting to spread the word about heart disease?
I'm a really old ICU nurse, and I've always taken care of open hearts. And when I started, I only took care of white middle-aged men. And I can very explicitly remember the day when I was standing in a room. They had called it code blue in the cath lab. And whenever they do that, eventually that person is going to show up to go to the operating room. And that lady came through the ICU with, and I'm going to be very descriptive, anesthesia, sitting on her bed, straddling her, doing CPR. And it was very different because this was the first woman we'd ever seen going to the OR because her procedure in the cath lab failed. And I thought, wow, this is different. This is a woman. We don't have women in here. And so why is this happening? Why is this different? She was 48 years old. And it's not someone, or the concept was very foreign. And it was not, that was the very first time that we had really seen a woman or had experienced that before. And that was in the mid-'80s. And the trend just continued. So that was really the first time that we realized that the angioplasty catheter did not fit all, that women's hearts were really truly different, and that we were really starting to see a different national trend. And it was very interesting. I'm very passionate, I'm anal retentive, obsessive compulsive, and I really like taking care of sick people. So it was very, it was just different because we're used to, again, everything, all the trends in the research was about white middle-aged men. And now we're throwing in women, and what did that mean? So, like taking care of children, taking care of women was just a little bit different, and that the medications really didn't work necessarily the same for them. So oftentimes we found ourselves a little challenged about how we cared for them. Was it the same amount of medication? Did that work? Did it not work? And it was evolving. So it was a different concept. It was totally different than what we were more or less raised with when we went to nursing school, we went to medical school. So then I also would work in the ER occasionally, and women would come in with chest pain. And whether it was real or not, they were oftentimes treated with, let me give you something for your stomach. It's probably just GI. And there were a couple of times that I became a little obstinate about it. I didn't believe that it was GI, and I wanted them to investigate a little further. So maybe this particular patient, it wasn't her chest, it wasn't really cardiac related, but she had been having vaginal bleeding for 3 months, and eventually we were able to get more lab, and she had a hemoglobin of 6. So yes, she did have chest pain and shortness of breath because she didn't have enough hemoglobin, enough blood, and so she was not feeling well. But that made me stop and think, so there really is this, I don't want to say discrimination, but there really is a difference in the way that when women come in and they talk about chest discomfort or the signs and symptoms of maybe a heart attack, that they're looked at, or the way that they're viewed. And it was really a lot of observational or clinical observational interest that made me start thinking about, and then reading some of the new, again, clinical journal articles. And I'm thinking, you know what, this is happening here. This is really most interesting. And it was kind of like an aha moment. And I'm one to want to make a difference, and one to want to have the ability to help in a way that is not the norm, And so I thought, we can do this. We should try this. And so I had the fortunate opportunity of helping in developing the first women's heart center of its kind at St. Luke's Hospital. And it's just been a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to help educate women about their heart health and to evolve the concept of women's heart health, not only locally, but regionally and nationally, and be a part of that mission and a part of that national campaign to where it is today. And it didn't happen on the East Coast, it didn't happen on the West Coast, it happened right here in Kansas City. And that's the really neat part about that.
It gives me goosebumps. Like that's really exciting, and I think it's really special that you were, kind of presented with this challenge and presented with this new thing, and didn't leave it to someone else to do. That you said, well, now I'm going to go fix it, and I'm going to figure out what we need to do about that. And I think that's really interesting.
The challenges were there though, because the medical field denied that there was a difference. They denied that there was gender bias. They were denied that there was gender sensitivities. And it was that you had to have perseverance. You had to say, simply going to cardiac rehab and looking at the gym, is this someplace a woman would want to go to? It smells like a men's gym locker. It has to be a little bit different for women. It has to have a look and feel. It has to have an appeal for women to want to share their story. It has to have an appeal someplace where they can feel safe and they can feel warm and comfortable and want to share their story, or feel cared for. Because when a man has a heart attack, who takes care of them? It's the female. It's their wife. It's their sister. It's their mother. But when a woman has a heart attack, who takes care of them? They go home and they go right back to work. There really is no one to take care of them unless they can take care of themselves, or they have someone else or a peer that can help take care of them. Unfortunately, we're doing much better because we're not only just educating women, but now we're educating the whole entire family, which is the next wonderful circle that's happened. Because if women are making health decisions for their family, they now are realizing too how important it is to engage their family in helping them be successful. Because I can remember women saying, I'm not cooking 3 meals. I know how important it is for me to be healthy, but I'm not going home and cooking 3 different meals, one for myself, one for my children, and one for my family. So it's important to engage their whole family in making healthy choices together, going to the grocery store together, cooking meals together, exercising together, and so that everyone's on the same page, so we can now have healthier families, healthier communities, and making that change together.
So you talked about kind of the discrepancy, or I think you said discrimination between women's health care and men's health care, especially when it comes to heart-related incidents and whatnot. Do you think that discrimination's gone?
It's pretty much, I think so, yes, because I think we've helped that. What's funny, when we first started, we would have the Women's Heart Center, it had a sign out in the hallway in the hospital, and I would hear men say, here is the Women's Heart Center. Where is the Men's Heart Center? Well, really? Men don't have difficulty accessing care or getting attention when they have heart-related issues. For instance, again, in the ER, a man would come in and immediately they'd have oxygen on, an IV started, nitro, an EKG, and be on their way to the cath lab. And a woman would come in and they'd get a GI cocktail. I mean, that's a big difference. Mm-hmm. And so now it's kind of like the opposite. Oh my gosh, here's the Women's Heart Center. Look, this is wonderful. So what about my husband? And you know what? That's what, in the Women's Heart Center, what we've done is we've taken our wellness assessment that we have, and we have taken a model and taken the opportunity to name it For the Love of Your Life. And so the husband and the wife together are having their assessment, and they're learning together about their risk factors, because those individuals who cohabitate together tend to have the same risk factors. So they're learning together. So what one hears about the other hears as well. And so they can together be successful in making changes related to their eating habits or to exercising or to following up with physicians' visits or getting certain testing or encouraging each other and being advocates for each other. So that is one way that we're helping address that any of those discrepancies or those variances is encouraging them and to participate together in their heart health. And so that's one way. Instead of just segregating men and women, it's now a family unit and doing it together.
Yeah, and I think it's great because I know a lot of people, you get home, your spouse says, oh, how'd that doctor's appointment go? As you're throwing dinner, oh, it went fine, don't worry about it. And we just kind of
move on.
Keep on moving. And so I think that's great. And I know when I first heard about the Love of Your Life program, they said, it doesn't have to be your spouse.
No, it doesn't.
You can bring your sister.
You bring your sister, your mother, your best friend, your daughter, whoever. It's just someone that, because we like consensus, we like to partner with someone, we want to be comfortable, we want someone that we can be accountable to. And it doesn't matter who it is. We just need that. We need to feel warm. We need to feel content. We need that comfort. And we need to, again, feel that we have someone that we can trust.
Yeah, and you guys have made such great strides at St. Luke's. And, you're changing and adapting and doing things in brand new ways every day. And heart disease is still the number one killer of women. We'd all love to move down to number 2. But why do you think it is that not all women are talking about heart disease? More women still think that cancer is a bigger risk for them than heart disease.
Well, because I think that it's hidden. It's occult. They don't think that if they could wear it on the outside of their chest, it would be much more visible and it'd be much more important to them. I think there is the concept that it's an older women's disease and that it's not a young woman's disease. And we know that it's the leading cause of death in women over the age of 35 or even younger, but they don't think that it really pertains to them. It pertains to someone else. It's someone else's problem, and not them. So it's putting it into perspective. And we talk about heart disease and everybody thinks about a heart attack, but I think that has to stop too. Because today we're living with women who were born with congenital heart defects that have lived, that their congenital heart defect has been corrected and they weren't supposed to live, and they have. And so here we have these beautiful women that have a congenital heart defect that has been surgically corrected that are having healthy babies. And what does that mean? So today, it's real life. It's their life, and this is what they're dealing with. It's women who have unknown congenital heart defects that didn't know they had them, and now they're being identified. Or it's women that have been leading healthy, normal lives, end up having a virus and ending up with some type of cardiomyopathy that now need heart transplants. And so or they have a heart failure. It's living today with what we're dealing with. And how do they do that? It's in everybody's family. It's in everybody's workforce. And it's what it is today. It's not always about the heart attack. It's not always about the stroke. And it's about making healthy choices. It's about dealing with it as it is today. And so you can't forecast. And it's about using your emotional intelligence. How do you every day get up and face what you have? It's about you looking one step ahead and yet one step behind. And that's how we survive. That's how you move forward. That's how you're grateful.
Yeah. And so you touched on a little bit of kind of how you got into this with that woman that came in with the anesthesiologist, pushing on her chest. And I know that you faced a lot of adversity and challenges in these things, but you've been doing this for quite some time. Mm-hmm. And so what makes you keep going?
I think that I can make a difference. I know I can make a difference. And I like to challenge people to make that difference with me. For instance, St. Luke's has never been a garden hospital. Grass is not greener on the other side. We've made lots of strides. We have had Laura Bush here many, many times. Because of us, she's decided to take Women in Heart Disease on as her platform. And we can make a difference. We can. It's one woman at a time. It doesn't have to be groups of women. It doesn't have to be a chapter in a book. It can be one woman at a time. It can be one family at a time. And that's how you look at it. It's not about it's not about a community. It's not about a city. It's about one life. It's about one woman. It's about one family. And that's all that matters. Perseverance is why. So I'm Marsha, and I go red for the next challenge. I want to uncover the truth about heart disease because it's time.